Alright, guys, we are now on to our chapter 4, which is going to be composing with dotted notes, tied notes, and using song structure. Okay, song structure is going to be the most important part of what we're doing. Okay, the reason why is because this is basically going to be what is going to make your song even better and take it to that next level. Okay, we're going to talk about that when we get there, but you're going to put all of these things into practice with our exercise 3 for our composition this week. Okay, now just to go on, we are going to be talking about this. After you watch the video, go on to the exercise to put these things into practice. Okay, so right here we're coming to our composition with dotted notes, tied notes, and just overall song structure. Okay, part 1, we're going to talk about dotted notes first. Those are, to me, these are probably one of the best tools to use in composing, especially in melody. All right, if you see right here, this is a dotted note right behind me. All right, the reason why you can know that is because of this dot right here. All right, now a dotted note is basically a note, and it can be any note, even a rest, that has a dot after it, not above it. You'll see above sometimes that means something else, which we'll talk about later, and it's right next to it. Okay, what it is it's telling you that this note is being held out longer than what it's telling us, basically by just saying, like, let's say for example a half note. Okay, the half note's held for 2 beats. What we're doing is we're taking the value of the half note, which is 2, basically taking half of that value, which is then becoming 1, and adding it to just the half note, which in turn it becomes 3 beats in total that you're holding out, whatever note you're doing. Okay, if you look over to the right, I have kind of like a little map of how you put that together. It says a half note, which is 2 beats, plus a dot, which is 1/2 of 2, you're taking the original, becomes 3 beats. All right, now that kind of might be a little bit hard to kind of understand first, but when you put it into practice, especially with your piece that you guys are going to be creating this week, you're going to see exactly how many beats a dotted note will take up in your composition. Now, like I said, different notes can have different beats with it. For example, the whole note, if you dot a whole note, it's going to be 6 beats. Okay, if you dot the half note, we just talked about it, it's going to be 3 beats. Remember, you're taking half of the value of the original note and adding it to together to create the dotted note. Then you have a quarter note, which you're taking, if you take 1/2 of 1, it becomes 1/2. Then if you have an eighth note, which is technically 1/2 of a beat, you're taking a half of a half, which, if you guys haven't learned it in math yet, or not too good with it yet, 1/2 of 1/2 is 3/4. Okay, and you remember, you add it to it. Okay, or actually 1/2 of 1/2 is actually 1/4, which then you add 1/4 to 2/4. It's math. Jeez. Okay, never mind. This is not math class. Let's go on. All right, but for part 2, tied notes. Okay, tied notes and dotted notes kind of go hand in hand. The reason why is because you're holding notes out longer than the original note. Okay, so tied notes are kind of going to be similar. The only reason, or the only difference, is that instead of a dot, it's going to use a tie, which is the little curve that comes up there. All right, so what is a tied note? It's a tied note is basically a symbol that's going to represent that the note is being held out for the value, basically, the note is being held out for that value plus whatever it's tied to. Okay, so for example, here if you have a half note, you're holding it out for 2 beats. Then if it has a tie to it, and it has to be the same note, that's important too. It has to be let's say if it's a C and a C or an A and an A, it's held out for +1, which equals in total 3 counts, and that equals basically like a dotted note, but we talked about that. The main purpose of a tie, and if you look at the bottom graph here, is to, let's say if I'm coming to a measure, right? I can't just put a dotted half note right here, okay, or a half note. It's going to take up more than the space of beats that I have in each measure. So a tie, if you want to hold it out for longer, it will bridge the gap between the next measure. So you guys, if you want to use a tied note, or you're going to be required to use tied notes in this exercise, but when you do it, if you want to bridge over, that's the best place you can use a tie, is between measures. All right. So tied note examples, you can have tied eighth notes, tied quarter notes, tied half notes, tied whole notes. You can have a whole bunch, and they all will add up and equal whatever the values that they're tied for. Okay. So remember that if you need to go back to this exercise or this part in the side, you can. All right. Now for our most important part, part 3, which is song structure. Song structure is going to be your most important tool in making a good song. Okay. Most important tool. So song structure. What is song structure? Song structure is basically the blueprint of your song. What are you doing? How is it formatting? Are you putting this here, this here, this here, this here? What you guys tend to do, and I'm going to show you guys in a little bit an example of what you guys do, but you guys tend to be like, okay, this is my idea. Okay, I'm going to make something completely different after that. Okay, after that, I'm going to make something completely different. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put some basically solidarity to your song. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus. That's what we're going to be doing this week primarily. Okay? And song structure, very importantly, there is the difference between a great song and a song that no one can remember. Okay? You want people to be able to remember your song. You want people to be able to hum it. Okay? Or sing it. So let's take a dive into maybe some of the parts of a song that you might have heard of already. Okay? So, intro. This is easy. An introduction is basically what starts off your piece. Okay? You can have, it can be something completely different. It can be like a solo into it. It could be just one instrument playing. It could be a drum just beating. It's something simple. But what it's going to do is that introduction is going to set up your song. Okay? Verse. The verse, and just to tell you about songwriting and make sure you guys remember, songwriting is about telling a story. Okay? And even if there's words to your song, or even if there's not, it's still about telling a story. Okay? So the verse is about the journey to wherever you're going. Okay? So let's say if you're going up to, I don't know, Disney World, I would say. Okay? The car ride is probably not the best in the world. Okay? Maybe packing is not the coolest thing either. Alright? So that is like the verse. Okay? It's the journey. It's most likely going to be simple, not too complex, not too jumpy, like going high and leaping up and doing crazy things. But it's going to be nice and simple. It's going to be like your car ride to Disney. Then what's going to happen is in the basically the verse or pre-chorus or chorus, what's going to happen is pre-chorus can be like you're about to be at Disney. Like you see the Disney sign coming in or something like that. Or if your parents say, oh, we're 25 minutes away, 30 minutes away. But the chorus is going to be the strongest part. Pre-chorus builds that excitement, but when you're at Disney and you see Mickey Mouse and give him a high five and ask him for his autograph, you're super excited, right? Chorus, that's where you want to build up with your chorus. You want that to be so excited. And chorus is like right below me. I have the definitions here. But please, make sure it's building. And it could be the same thing, building. It can be, okay, I have the same part in my verse. Oh, let me add another instrument doing the same thing in the pre-chorus. Then let me make a crazy, crazy drum beat, okay? That is what this is about, okay? Next, going on, all right? A bridge section. We're not going to go into a bridge section too much right now, but a bridge section is typically a part of the song that's going to sound basically completely different or a little bit different, okay? What's going to happen is that this bridge is going to take you back. It could take you back to the beginning of your song, kind of like how this story thing is written out here, this plot line. But what's going to happen here is that this bridge is going to be like that little break in your song that's taking you to the end. Okay, usually that's how it does. And it's simple. It's kind of like a breakdown of the song, where it could be just the drum and the vocals. It could be a guitar solo, things like that. But overall, what these parts of the song are going to do is they're going to give you a story that connects, kind of like in a triangle, like you see here. All right, that triangle is going to be your story. It's going to repeat, 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 and then you have a complete song when you end it. All right. Now, putting everything together, this week we're going to be talking about verse, chorus, or A, B. A, B, A, B, A, B. We're not going to do C this week. Next week we're going to incorporate C. But this week we're going to do A, B, A. Okay? A, B, A. That's how we're basically going to put together exercise 1, which you're going to see the song structure when you're going into it. And what's going to happen is you guys are going to go and create your first, I would like to say, official song. Our first official one that technically was the ringtone, but that's like a short little snippet. This week, what we are doing is we're going to be putting together, building it, making it better. All right? So, typical song structures. We talked about all of these parts. The only one we didn't talk about is an outro. You can have an outro, which is like a reverse of your intro. It's where everything settles down and it ends. Okay? But commonly used song structures, okay? I'm not going to put a name to these. These all have a big fancy name to them. But we can have AAA, which is just repeat the verse, okay? Christmas songs do this all the time. They'll repeat the A over and over and over again, but change the lyrics. And also, each verse is usually different. We have ABA, which is the one we're going to be using this week, which is a verse, chorus, verse, which is going to be, each A should be different as far as lyrics go. Not melody, but lyrics. We're going to focus on melody, so that's good. A, B, A, B. It's another one, is very, very typical. This is about, these next ones here are probably the most, I would say the next one here is the most common used, but it's A, B, C, B, which is that bridge. And sometimes you'll get B, B at the end, which will repeat twice the chorus. All right. Then we have A, B, C, B, A, B, then A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B. Okay. So those last ones are long. We don't want to use them, not right now at least. Okay. We're going to take this step by step in building up our songs. So for this week, when you guys get to your exercise number 1, which should be right after this, what you guys are going to do is you're going to see the layout that I've created for you with your basically sheet, okay? Or actually not with your sheet, with your score, and you guys are going to start composing, okay? You're gonna be required to compose with anywhere between quarter notes, or actually 16th notes to half notes in your melody. You're gonna have to use chords, and you're gonna be incorporating ties and dotted notes into the lesson as well, on top of making sure your song is structured properly. So with that, let's get composing, and I will see you guys in the next video.